Lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender rights in Nepal are among the most progressive in Asia. The Nepalese constitution recognizes LGBT rights as fundamental rights. Following the end of the monarchy, homosexuality was legalized across the country in 2007 along with the introduction of several new laws. These new laws explicitly include protections on the basis of sexual orientation. The Nepalese constitution, approved by the Constituent Assembly on 16 September 2015, includes several provisions pertaining to the rights of LGBT people. These are the right to acquire a citizenship certificate in accordance to one's gender identity, a prohibition on discrimination on any ground including sex by the state and by private parties, eligibility for special protections that may be provided by law, and the right of access to public services for gender and sexual minorities. Based on a ruling of the Supreme Court of Nepal in late 2007, the government was also looking into legalizing same-sex marriage. According to several sources, the new constitution was expected to include it, although the constitution does explicitly include that marginalized communities are to be granted equal rights under the law, and also mentions that LGBT people in Nepal particularly fall under that marginalized group. It appears to not address the legalization of same-sex marriage explicitly. Despite these supportive laws and provisions, LGBT people still face societal discrimination in Nepal, and there is significant pressure to conform and to marry a partner of the opposite sex. Nepal is often considered a beacon for LGBT rights due to its more liberal laws. But it has been slower than India at adopting laws supporting transgender individuals. The term LGBTI is increasingly used in Nepal, rather than just LGBT, with the I denoting intersex people. The term gender and sexual minorities are also used. Certain activists have also coined an acronym POMSOGIESC, standing for People of Marginalized Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity and Sex Characteristics, to encompass a larger spectrum of identities beyond the LGBT terminology. Before the transition from the Kingdom of Nepal to the Federal Democratic Republic of Nepal in 2007, private homosexual relations between consenting adults was a crime. Among others, cross-dressing was also illegal under various laws against public immorality. Such provisions were abolished after the end of the monarchy. The age of consent in Nepal is 16, regardless of gender and sexual orientation. Same-sex marriage is not legal in Nepal. One of the first cases to determine the shift in legislation regarding LGBTI rights in Nepal was the 2007 Supreme Court case Sunil Babu Pant and others v. Nepal government. After their participation in demonstrations that brought down the monarchy, LGBT rights groups found themselves largely ignored by the current political establishment and turned to the judiciary as a more effective way to secure their rights. In April 2007, a coalition of organizations representing LGBTI Nepalis filed a writ petition under Article 107 of the Interim Constitution of Nepal. The petition, filed by the Blue Diamond Society, Miting Nepal, Crusades Nepal and Pariche Nepal, expressed dissenting view with the prevalent societal structures or norms as well as legal provisions adopted by the state based on the interest of majority people. The petition asked that Nepal officially recognize transgender individuals as a third gender, prohibit any discriminatory laws on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity, and invest due finances for reparations by the state to victims of state violence and discrimination. On 21 December 2007, the Supreme Court ruled that the new democratic government must create laws to protect LGBTI rights and change existing laws that are tantamount to discrimination. Based on the Yogyakarta principles in the special procedures of the UN Human Rights Council, the court concluded that sexual orientation is to be defined by one's self-identification and a natural process rather than a result of mental, emotional or psychological disorder. While not explicitly legalizing same-sex marriage, the ruling instructed the government to form a committee to look into decriminalizing and stigmatizing same-sex marriage. A bill to legalize same-sex marriage was drafted and was supposed to be introduced by 2010. In the drafting of the new Nepalese constitution, same-sex marriage and protection for sexual minorities were supposed to be established. However, negotiations on the new constitution failed and Prime Minister Baburam Bhattarai dissolved the Constituent Assembly on 28 May 2012 in preparation for new elections. As a result, the future of explicitly addressing the legality of same-sex marriage was uncertain. Ultimately, the constitution was adopted in 2015 but does not address same-sex marriage. As of 2019, a bill to legalize same-sex marriage was being drafted and